another episode of Kelty Hearts podcast. So joined the game by Tiger, played for a few teams, managed Lochore as well, and obviously third all-time top goal scorer for Kelty. Garry Leighton, a couple of stints here, I missed that when I phoned you yesterday, 2008 to 2010, and then came back in 2014 under Tam Courts. And Murray, you've been here since, well, you were here 2015 to 2019. Pretty big years for you, for Kelty, to be honest. What he's been up to since he's left?
Since finishing, I sort of took a job down south, which ended my time here, and then I just kind of struggled after that. I came back, tried a few teams, but I was never really fit. I was kind of...
You weren't fit when you played, so...
I wasn't fit when I played, but I was more unfit.
That should be the notes for me.
It was a tough place to... We spoke obviously before, but it's a tough place to follow. He's had a decent time here, so we go somewhere else after. It was always going to be a bit tricky. What about yourself, Garry?
I was the exact same. I think I was maybe about 3 or 4 months before Murray had to relocate with work. I moved into Plymouth just before COVID and stuff kicked off as well, so obviously left Kelty, missed all that football with that, and then COVID hit, so you missed another year and a bit, and then again trying to get back into the swing of things when you've had such a successful time here was quite tough. Probably the only time I enjoyed football was when I was a captain of the Scythe, just with being a local team. But apart from that, it's been quite difficult. Obviously I had a spell with hubby at Dundonald as well, which was pretty good. And but it's just been a bit on and off with football since, and that's me November, the boots were hung up.
You were always a voice when you were on the park, and I always liked taking that captain's armband at the Scythe.
It was good, it was probably easy after Kelty. Muzz can vouch for it as well, the clubs he went to keep the interest, that motivation to keep playing after the highs at Kelty and going to different clubs and not quite having that same feeling about the changing room and about winning games and winning leagues. And so having that influence and stuff in a changing room definitely gave me a bit of motivation as well.
You said obviously Muzz, you had a few teams before Kelty as well. What was it like getting into football for yourself for a young age?
Well, I didn't actually start playing for a team until a little bit older, probably 10, 11.
Is that no signing?
You says quite late on when you started playing for teams.
Yeah, so I always played as a kid, but I never ever played for a team. One of my mates, Chris Gay, was actually here as well. He got me along to a team, just a 7-a-side team, so I was about 10, 11 years old, something like that, and then that's where I started. I was just kind of youth football for there. Had a little spell at Wraith Rovers, but never lasted very long. My mouth got me in a bit of trouble, as you could imagine. And then it was juniors for 16, 17 years old, and you were just kind of hopping about junior clubs. My dad's advice was always to try and play at the highest level you could all the time, so it was kind of stepping stone until Tam Courts come calling and found myself here.
And we're going to talk about that a wee bit later, your signing to Kelty. Guys, you're no stranger obviously to Kelty. Stevie Leighton, you sort of were brought up with Kelty Hearts. What was that like?
That was brilliant. Tiger will remember it as well. I think the quarter-final, semi-final and final, I was the mascot in their first Scottish Cup final run, so I was running out with muff and whatever before the games. So memories go way back to then at 9-year-old, 10-year-old, whatever, 9-year-old I would have been. And then obviously watching my dad, I think it was a year before I signed when I left full time with Dunfermline, where they got to the Scottish Cup final at East End Park as well. So that was my Saturdays, and even during the week coming up and watching them all train, and for a right young age, it was Kelty was in our family for I can remember.
Did he behave?
Sorry?
Did he behave?
What do you think?
I thought you said, did he bathe there? I was going to say, behave. Listen, Garry Leighton is Garry Leighton. You speak about him, you say his name and folk laugh, but speak about his dad there, Stevie. I'm actually, when's he back? Because he's due me an absolute fortune. Stevie has signed me for Kelty to Reside, for the first go to the Reside job. I was with him and Billy Spencer, and Billy being my cousin, and I thought, okay, right, phone, he says, listen, I want to take you to Reside, we're going to win this, we're going to win that. And to be fair, he was quite successful. Reside done really well. And I said, Stevie, I've got 7.5 years here at Kelty. I've another contract, I've got a testimonial. He went, didn't worry about it, I'll weigh you in. I ken somebody that could sort that out. Yeah, you're a marquee signing, I'll weigh in, and I'm actually still waiting on that weigh in. So,
well, he's in Saudi now, so
that's
now's
fine.
the time.
But no, listen, guys like Garry goes back to when he was young and coming up mascot and what have you. I mind you going into the change room. My first session, I'd come for, where was that? Who did they sign me for? I can't, Montrose, Brad Morris was a manager. And I walked in and we were getting changed and Steve Leighton turns to me and says, alright man. I was like, he says, what team do you support? I was like, Rangers. He says, bro, welcome to junior football. And so, that was, but listen, I had great memories with Stevie Leighton, fantastic memories. And it's good to see him when he comes back, but as Garry says here, Muff and all the kind of boys, Joe Lister, and you know, there's been a lot of good players in it, but how much has the game changed?
Massively.
You know, I was thinking coming up the road there, and we used to play here on a Saturday and we'd walk out the back gate down to Lindsay Tavern and I'd pay the bag and the tracksuit on and you'd just dump the bag and you'd still be there in the karaoke with the boys with the tracksuit on, and you know, you'd go back and get your bag on a Sunday. And it's not, I know it's totally changed, but you know, the guys nip in new for a juice and they're away.
Well, even when we were here with the Super League ones and that, we were there to daft o'clock and all. That was probably one of the best bits, you know, getting in, mingling. The karaoke was like you
exactly,
said,
but it's totally changed now, eh?
It was almost an expectation on us.
If you, well, it's right, because if you didn't go back for not just for a juice now, if you didn't go back and speak and get involved in a wee bit, you got fined. I'm sure it was on our fine list if you didn't go back to the lounge after a game. That's the sort of. But look, you see that change room and how successful we are, and all these sort of wee things contributed to that massively.
Mm-hmm. That was massive. That team that by the time coach put together when he brought yourself in and Murray, you were a year after, that was a massive. There was a ton of the players that he brought in that year. Eh?
Yeah, I'm sure it was about 10 years or something. We brought in. It was
your first year.
Skip, Shaq, myself.
Brian.
I think it was Cargie. Cargie was already here, wasn't it?
Aye, Cargie was there, but Brian came as well.
So full change for the Dalkeith game out there, the playoff to get relegated to then signing us all, gelling like that, and then winning the league.
I think you still see it. We were at a function last Saturday and majority, well, a good pack of the boys were still there, and you could see it, they've still got that bond.
We're still on the group chats together and stuff, you know what I mean?
You've seen it then.
Massive. How did it come about for yourself? Is it Tam that got in contact or somebody else?
Yeah, it was Tam. I met Tam at a pub just down from my mum and dad's, but I was actually at Glenrothes at the time, playing there. I was due a groin operation though when Tam phoned because it was during the season, and I told him, look, just sort of hold off till I get this out of the way, wait to the end of the season. So I got my operation and stuff, and then signed in the summer. But and then we just went on an unbelievable run that you couldn't even imagine. That
was first season. That was East of Scotland, East Super League title that he's won. What was there a lot of pressure to go out and win that first season or?
Not at all, because like I said, I'm sure we can remember it was 33-1 or something at the bookies to win that league, and obviously Kelty had just scraped relegation the year before. It was probably everyone looking at that's a team that's going to try and survive again, because it wasn't like Tam had went and spent a fortune. We'd all come, me, Shaun and that were at Kirkcaldy. I was at Glenrothes. It was all lower league teams that would come for, but they were just good guys, good, hard working, decent players, and then we just kept winning, and that mentality kept building, and the belief kept going. And I think it was maybe February time where we actually got our first defeat or something like that. It was something like that, but we just kept winning and winning, so it was unbelievable.
What about Tam as a manager? He's mad. You seen for a young age that he's going to be a top manager, and quite rightly so. He's earned that title, but I mean, a flip chart board wasn't safe, was it? I mean, that was the first thing he'd go for, was a flip chart board. I mean, flip chart a few times.
And then he took the heat off me, I think, when he
after looking for that fiver down the couch, he kept going on about, I've never heard
of it. He was brilliant, Tam. He knew the demands he put on us that. I think when we won the league, he was like, I know that one of his speech sort of along the lines, I know your wife's and you fucking hate me, but look at this. He wasn't bothered. He knew how to get the best out of people, and he fell out with everybody every week, regardless. But it was just he knew how to manage everybody and get the best out of people. So he could
push your buttons, but the right buttons. Eh?
You kind of run a fine line, like where he would make you know that he was there for you. Like, wasn't he a pal? But with all due respect, when it come to management, he was like, I'm there for you, but you respect me, and I think all the guys had that for him. And it wasn't a case of him just signing for ability. He would always sign people, and you kind of seen it. Players came and went, and they just didn't quite fit what Tam wanted. But there was as a dressing room, it was
It managed itself, I think.
100%.
Because of like what Muzz is saying, the core group that were there, if a talented player, you could mention a few names, I'm not going to, but come into the change room, absolute bags of ability, but just not that type of player that's going to run through a brick wall. And it sort of, they didn't isolate themselves, they were never like that, but you could see them no lasting in that sort of environment that Tam was creating. And you can't argue with the environment he created after all.
I think two of the folk that I spoke to when I did a previous podcast was Flem and Ross Philp. When you say about the season before, they were two players I think that left the year that you came in to go to Bo'ness, because they both said they wanted to win the league title.
Ross left to win the league.
Yeah.
That's right, I mean, in the conversation with him, the Dalkeith game, was it over there? Was the first leg?
First leg here.
Was it 6-0? I think we beat them 1-0 over there, I think.
Like that.
And I mind they going out with Tam and speak to Ross. He was just sitting on the grass outside and he said, I'm moving on. He said, I want to win the league next year. And we wished him all the best, and away he went, and I don't think he did.
Yeah.
I don't think his words were forgotten because he was in the team talk the next year.
Obviously, we talked about obviously Tam coach signing you year later that you came across. What was that like? Was it easy coming in? You obviously says bite heads a wee bit at the start, but
I think my concern was going to be game time because I was quite young when I came in. But again, I kind of spoke to my dad a lot about my football decisions, and he was again saying to me, just play at the highest level you can, trust in your ability. He says it might take time, you might be on the bench for weeks, you might find yourself out the team, whatnot, but trust your ability, you'll get game time. And I'm glad I did, I'm glad I came. But it was Tam, it was a conversation with Tam. And my decision was very simple. I knew a lot of the boys before I came because I played with Skip, I played with Shaq, I played with wee Cargie, I knew Garry. I played with the guys at Dundonald, so the decision was easy for me. And quickly after Tam was on the phone, Skip was on the phone, so
you're
was made.
You're a big, obviously, character. I mean, that dressing room was full of them, but you were renowned for not keeping your opinion to yourself, certainly. That no cause bother when you first signed with Tam, because Tam was away as well.
I'll take over right here. We all knew Muzz anyway, were you at Dundonald the year before?
Year before.
And just, no, but his ability spoke for itself, but he also spoke for himself. I know sometimes more often than was needed. but I'm sure Tam was maybe, it's one of the ones that you didn't want to be signing him, he falls out with people, he's this and that.
Tam liked that though.
Tam's, he wanted to prove everybody wrong, and he's like, nah, but we'll see. And there was teething problems. I can remember a Beath High School one where I thought he was going to rip your head off.
Who did we play at Spartans ground? Did we play Spartans?
Aye.
And I was quickly on loan for 4 weeks after that. I was at Bo'ness actually on loan. After a bit
there was teething problems, but in the long run you can see it worked out for everybody.
I remember, obviously as a supporter before I did this media stuff, I can always remember if you just saw you walking towards the referee.
The yellow card was coming.
So he's behaved the whole game, but you would see someone you didn't like, and you'd let them know like. Obviously, when we look at a fan base now, we've still got a lot of people that follow Kelty through the juniors, but there's a lot that sort of warmed to Kelty when they joined the professional ranks. What was the difference like between junior and the senior football? Because that's the biggest thing, you hear that they wanted the same game in a lot of ways. What was it like?
I think when you come across, there was a lot more sort of, I don't know if the coaching's the right word, so you come over and the teams were a bit more organised, especially in the Lowland League. Everybody was right fit. There was uni teams that were fit. The East of Scotland, the Super League, East Super League was big battering rams with ability, and I learned quickly. I started 18-year-old when I come here the first time, and it was in the Super League, and I got a wake-up call that even leaving Dunfermline, it was a massive step up. But the difference for me was just that there was a lot more maybe Route 1 football, and you come over to the East of Scotland, you can see teams try to play the right way, and I think that's how
very coached things.
Every team would try and play out for the back, and that's how we got a lot of success because we were really aggressive and on the front foot. And even though I think we played Tynecastle away, and I think we were 3-0 up after 10 minutes, and they just kept playing for the back. So I think that was a massive difference. You try and play for the back in the juniors and it doesn't work. Next one you're going long, whereas them they kept trying to play the game.
That's definitely. I wouldn't say there was not so much tactics or formations back in the juniors. Kelty just signed better players.
Aye.
And that's how it was. And you had the gaffer on here a couple of weeks ago, and he spoke about how when he first broke into the Celtic first team, and the manager, I can't who the manager was.
Ronnie, I think.
Dialogue, no, he was the first one introduced. Was it no before him? I can't know. Was it no Neil Leonard? Whoever it was.
Could have been.
They didn't really have tactics. They just went out with a shape, a
The best
4-4-2, and they just. He said his debut at Ibrox, or his firm debut was at Ibrox. He went out and played left midfield. He just told, right, you're playing left midfield, and it wasn't until Ronnie Dialogue came in that they started getting the board out with the markers, moving all out, and they're like, wow, there's more again than just going around the park. But back to the junior times, Kelty just signed the best players going about, and that's why they were successful.
Yeah.
I think under our team as well, like, we always wanted to play, but there was like an expectation to earn the right to play first. And I feel like some of these teams in like the east of Scotland and that, they were kind of younger guys and stuff because they were uni teams and that, but they were just going to play early doors, and that kind of suited us because we would go after them quick, be aggressive, try and be more streetwise, and then we would earn the right to play. And I think that was a big part of the success as well.
I think Tam Courts, like every time the ball was in the air, it was seconds. That was what he shouted, like, screamed at the top of his voice. If you didn't get that second ball, he was going to lose. He was going to lose his shit. Like,
and it was Nelly's fault if we didn't.
Fuck's sake, Nelly.
You find that managers tend to hate that one person they go to, and it's mother when he's on the bench. You're like, right, who do I shout on now?
Just because he was fit.
That East of Scotland league, some of the results he didn't run away with, but it wasn't. It's not like he's ran away with the league. It came quite close to Lothian Thistle were a bit of a thorn on your side.
I was saying this to you when we spoke on the phone the other day. I think the difficulty that year was, I think we were a better team than Lothian, and I think that 100%. But no disrespect to any other teams, but I found like it was kind of more difficult to raise your levels for the bigger games because you were playing, again, no disrespect, but it's kind of lesser teams. So you were trying to play at 100%, we were still training, but I think as opposed to the Super League the year before, every game you could lose, like no problem.
Couldn't be off it one.
Couldn't be off it. So then I think that year we kind of struggled to get up in the big games, but then obviously the big game that mattered, we managed to do it. So
I think it's not an looked into actually. You go about Carnegie being the sitting top goal scorer at this club. They were winning 14-15 nothing every second week, so I think the goal should be looked at and let's see where they bring them down a peg or two. I actually contemplate to get my bits back out. Like I'm not that far behind Tam. Condon your alley there 30 goals or something.
Those two titles, because there was a few. There's a King Cup title in there as well. What one was the best one? The East Super League or the East of Scotland one? When you finally clinched it.
I think they're completely different
reasons.
But you see the first Super League when you had the Boness and the Lithgows always dominating and having the chest out, and the disrespect 5 teams sort of got shown. I felt in that league, that was sweet. That one, that tasted sweet. But the way the East of Scotland one was won. As I said to you on the phone as well, Lothian had put us out the Scottish, I think the year before. They beat us in the cup that season over there. They beat us the week.
Both games.
They beat us the week before. We could have won the league over their mind, and they beat us 1-0.
No, that's right.
And then so it was all riding on that, and you're like, this bogey team, is this going to be the one? But
it was good the way the league put it as well, because they had it planned out for a league decider.
Yeah.
It wasn't guaranteed to happen, but they had it planned out for a league decider, and what a day, what a night, it was incredible.
They wouldn't say it was automated, but it definitely was. I remember, again, just watching as a supporter, I think the manager came after and said that Kelty only won because they had to play 2 games that week or something like that. That's what he put it down to. But on the day, Kelty just wanted it more. You could absolutely tell.
we done everything. We turned up early. I don't know how much of this you can say, but Dazzler come in, took the power out of their change room. They couldn't play their music, just getting in their head.
Dazzler's a sparky, big Dazzler's a sparky, so he came in and cut the power out of the dressing room.
Next minute they got a big extension for Gordon's room to get their handy so they could play their music. Dazzler with a pair of scissors chopped their cable. It was just.
I think the power's still out in that team.
There was that needle before the game, and it was just we were in their head right away, and then boom, we're 1-2-0 up. Then they got a penalty just before half time. And then Scott, that was that last couple of minutes. You're like, they score, they win the league.
Yeah.
We hold on, and then that goal was just.
I think the day of that game, I don't know if Garry will back me up here, but I'm pretty sure he will. I don't think there was a single person in the dressing room who thought that we weren't going to win the league that day.
No chance.
It wasn't in our nature.
Yeah.
We always thought, as much as they were a bogey team, we were going to beat them that day.
At home as well. I think it set up nicely, like you say. Rolling back a wee bit, see when you found out you were making that move for junior football, and that's kind of what he's been playing for the last few years, is there any point you thought they were making a mistake? Because there was obviously a lot of chatter where he's pretty set that it was the right move.
There was no doubt when they got us in there, didn't they? And
I think that was the point for us. We all realised when they took us in there and explained everything to us.
Like this is the plans. They set us everything out. They didn't hide anything. They knew you were maybe going to take a year out of your career, if you will, but you didn't, because you had all that experience out there with winning that league in the last game of the season. It's probably arguably one of my best in my career. So coming over, seeing what the club were doing in the background, it wasn't. I didn't have any doubts anyway myself.
No, I think they were quite clear as well that other clubs were going to follow suit. So the time to do it was now.
Aye.
And I think, look where the club is now, I think it was the right decision because I think the year after Bonnyrigg, Lithgate.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we've set the benchmark, if you like, and teams have copied it. Followed suit, you're right. But that was definitely the right decision. And these guys, even myself, going back before me, they've all laid the foundations to put the club to where it is today. Definitely.
Is this what you thought? Like, did you think Kelty would get to this point, League One established?
I think the club always had the ambition. But whether it was going to be achievable, and how long's it been? Whether it was going to be achievable, I didn't know, but it's amazing to see it. It's brilliant to see it.
Fifth year, won the second division right away.
I knew the big one was getting out of that lowland. Obviously that one out there, if we didn't win that East of Scotland league on that last game, you don't know what would have happened, because you'd have been in that league again with all these other teams coming in. But the Lowland League one, I always said when we were in the Lowland League, there was 5 or 6 teams in that league that we played in that could hold their own in the League Two. So if you get up there, you're not coming back down, because in my opinion you're better than 4 or 5 of the teams, maybe more, in that league above. And it's proven. You can see the teams that are coming down and the teams that are going up. There's no that bounce up and down thing.
No.
Teams that are coming down are struggling to go up, and the other way about. There's no.
I feel like the leagues protect the teams at the bottom, and it's like they don't want them to go down. There's, like Garry was saying, there was teams in our league at the time. It was Spartans, East Kilbride, ourselves, all competing in it. Comfortably, Bonnyrigg.
But for years, your teams around the bottom of the second division must have all been, you're right, protected, eh?
And it was like 4 games to. Remember the year? Who was it that played Cowdenbeath, and they won it, and they never got beat a single game. They got beat on penalties.
Aye, and then beat penalties. East Kilbride, that's right. Aye.
And had a scuffle at the end, and I think somebody got a couple of folk got sent off. I can't remember that.
I'm sure Jordan Shearer was part of that. I'm sure he was at Cowdenbeath.
It's definitely. I mean, the Scottish League better. I mean, it's getting clubs like ourselves and your Bonnyriggs of this world and Spartans to go and as Garry says, that you know, your Cowdenbeath, your Berwick's, your Albion Rovers, Brecons, East Stirling as well. You know, so these, as much as they're now struggling to come back up because finances is a key. It plays a massive part, and your teams up there. You know, your East Kilbride's now a wealthy side, so that helps.
Looking back to you, obviously this time again at Kelty, who did you enjoy playing with? These guys see each other obviously, but who is it that stood out that these? If you could play another game with them, who would you play with?
I think for me, it's so cliche, but the whole dressing room was phenomenal. Like, because what we were saying earlier about what Tam built for us, like the dressing room and all the boys, we're still in a group chat and it's 12, 14 men strong. Like, it's no like we filtered into groups in 2s and 3s. It was a collective unit. But if it's like in terms of quality and stuff, then you've got to take your hats off to guys like Hubby, Wee Cargs. Obviously you've got different players for different reasons, but Skip was a standout, Big Shark standout. There's so many to choose from.
It's a spine of a team right there. So, Shaun, Greg, Skip, probably the best captain I've ever played alongside for standards, demanding standards, but being there for guys and all.
Done a lot with.
Exceptional player. He was looking knackered though. I mean, being assistant
to Tam,
assistant manager to Tam one day, and Tam's playing, and I'm on the sidelines. I'm looking at Skip. He's had his back to, he's running away. I'm like, look at his strip. He's soaking. He's done. I'm like, Tam, go ahead, Skip. He's done. And he just gave me that look. I went, I'm no bother. But that's just how it was.
That was Skip.
Yeah, he was like that after the one. I used to get a big slap in the heart.
What was it like when Barry Ferguson came in? He was obviously a big name coming to Kelty again. What was it like when he came in the door?
I thought it was a wind-up. he was obviously my idol growing up, watching Rangers and sitting in the change room actually, and Skip had been messaging me during the day and he's like, he's getting announced. I'm like, you're fucking full of shit, man. Sitting there, he poked his head in that corner and I could have just drove him, I was fucking shite. But I was just another showing the intent of the club right for an early stage of where they wanted to, how ambitious they were. Nobody could believe it. Just a massive influence on
I think it set the stall again on the types of managers we've brought to the club. You know, we've always brought a manager who's had something about him, a name about him, and he's been young, ambitious, and like other managers we've had up to now, and including the guy for the now, same sort of mould.
Yeah, absolutely. What was that team like? Because it was a wee bit different to the East of Scotland team.
We were top of the lowland when he took over, so we weren't a bad side or that. And I think when he'd seen us a few times, we got beat out there off, I think it was BSC Glasgow, and then a few changes started to happen, and boys were going out, guys were coming in, and then you could see that transition starting to show. And some of the boys that you'd been so successful when be close pals ended up at the door. It was a strange feeling, but the club were still doing well. I think we finished third or something. Did we finish third that season?
Third or fourth.
I remember watching an interview. I think Mark McCabe did it with Barry Ferguson after, and he had won against Edinburgh Uni like 8-0 or something like that. And he says, "Great result, eh, Gaffer?" And the Gaffer, "What do you mean it was a great result?" Because you had only scored 8. And he was fuming, and Mark never insinuated that it was a good game again in an interview.
I think Barry was good for us boys. It was difficult. It was a difficult transition because, like Gary was saying, a lot of our friends were leaving. But personal, and Gary, I think I'll echo that. I think it was good for us too. But it was difficult to see our, like we were saying, some of our mates go in and skip, obviously finishing up, and it was a difficult period. But I think it was good. All in.
My personal note, it gave me a sort of boot up the arse as well. Just obviously Tam being there so long, successful with us, and I wouldn't say I got into a comfort zone, but I probably wasn't the best version of myself before Barry Ferguson came in, and it just gave me a sort of kick up the arse, like, you'll be at the door soon, you take your finger out.
Absolutely. And well, I suppose the last thing to finish off would be, what was it like when you finally had to go? It was both work sort of reasons. It wasn't like you were showing the door because you couldn't play anymore. It was sort of commitments. What was it like when you had to make that decision? Start with you, Mus.
It wasn't. It was a decision I didn't take lightly. I dwelled on it for ages and ages, but I was at a point in my life where I had to move out, buy a house, progress things with my fiancée now. But it wasn't a decision I took lightly, and COVID obviously fucked it because I was only away for 7 months and then back up the road. But I was 2 stone overweight and never near fit enough to play football.
What about yourself, guys? What went through your mind when you had to go?
I actually got it was like almost a promotion I was getting with my work, because I'm a health and safety advisor, believe it or not. So going for a supervisor into that was my first opportunity at that role. And in that sense, it was, you'd think it would be easy, because it was the aircraft carriers and the dockyard had come to an end, so there was so much redundancies, and this was my opportunity to remain with the company in a better position just away from home. So it was hard because I'd just signed a year extension under Barry and was loving football and just loving being at the club, and it was tough, but it was a decision I had to make, just like Muzz says. Football didn't pay the bills, you know what I mean, so...
Not for us anyway.
No, for some.
He's been back up lately and seen much of the team in this season, or
I've not managed to
got much saving that.
Young family, so it's difficult to make time on a Saturday, but I still keep an eye on the results. See how the boys are getting on. We know CJ pretty well, so
definitely need to get back up soon. But like you said, young. I've got a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old. So when I chucked the football in November, I train at the gym, Goliath MMA in the morning.
That plug you put in there, that course you might put plugs in for gyms now, eh? So they're a sponsor.
It's a discount code coming up. Garry 25.
Half price membership. And my wee boy and my daughter, Saturday afternoons I've got swimming lessons, so it's just try to find the balance and get up as much as you can.
The boys have spoke about doing a hospitality, so I think we'll do it at some point.
Good.
Come up and see the faces.
Yep.
And we've got the Captain's Day, so Skip's going to come along and obviously speak to myself and all the supporters that come along to that, so hopefully we see us back for that as well.
Well, it's good that the date's changed, you said, isn't it?
Aye, so it's going to be happening in May.
Skip gave us 6 days notice at the last one.
No, aye, May, so plenty of time to get the requests in. Thanks very much for coming along, obviously speaking to us, taking the time out, and again, hopefully see us back again. Cheers as well, Tiger.
No problem. Cheers, guys.